Guys, really excited to review the Tenways bike, the city bike. What's it? Oh, it's, congratulations. It's now Tenways. Wow, that's awesome. Good for you guys. Really, Tenways now. Okay. I remember when they used to just be 9-ways. Well, good for them. All right, guys, this is the Tenways CGO600 Pro. It's a lot, that's a mouthful. This is a city bike, city commuter bike. I am going to do an overview of this. I'm gonna give you a performance test. We're gonna climb hills. I'm gonna give you my professional opinion on this bike from front to back. I've been the head tech of a few different major e-bike companies. I've worked for several e-bike conversion shops. I do this professionally. I help people build their own custom e-bikes, but sometimes people don't want to build their own custom e-bikes. They don't, for whatever reason, they want to buy one ready to go. And I'm going to give you my honest opinion on whether this bike is right for you. And everybody's got different opinions, so hopefully you'll hang tight. I'm going to give this thing the works on my review. I'll try to make it quick. All right, and I'm gonna rate this bike too. I'm gonna give it a scale. I'm gonna rate it on performance, design, value for the money, quality of the ride, and quality of the components. And I'm gonna rate it out of 50, 10 for each category. So you could decide which one's most important to you. Maybe this bike might be for you based on those categories. Okay, so let's just get right into it. I'm gonna start at the front of the bike, and I'm gonna give you an overview going to the back. So starting at the very front, we've got 700 by 45C tires. These are pretty fat road tires. Commuter, they're not quite skinny. I would say these are, personally, I like these size tires. If I was building a commuter and I wanted like something really efficient, I would go with something like this. They're fat enough where they absorb some road noise, and they have a little bit of suspension, like a very little tiny bit, but they're still not super fat where they're not inefficient. These are skinny enough to still be efficient. These are 700C tires. We've got Tektro disc brakes, front and rear. I like that they went with Tektro. They could have used some off-brand, no-name thing. They didn't. The Tektro is a very good brand, so that's good to see. Moving up front, it's got a very minimal design. You can see there's what, 3 cables coming out of here? Well, there's one going here, one for the display, one brake cable, and one brake cable here. I mean, there's almost no cables. That's good or bad because there's not a whole lot of tech here. There's no throttle, there's not a whole lot of stuff, but that's nice. This thing is clean. It almost doesn't look like an e-bike. Very simple handlebar, very comfortable grip, so I like these grips. It's got a little bell. Excuse me. This bread isn't gonna deliver itself. Oh crap, where's my bread? I'm never gonna make it as a bread delivery boy. Keep losing all the bread. All right, it's got an adjustable stem, which is nice. You could, if you want it to be a little bit more upright, I like having these adjustable stems. They're nice. You get kind of dial in that position a little bit better. It's not gonna be perfect, but I think it's pretty good. Next here we've got, I think this is the SW102 display. It's the same display that's based off of the Egg Rider, and it's a very simple display. It's very small, very nice. A lot of people like this, but if you want something big, colorful, USB output, stuff like that, you might want to look for a different display. This is nice because it shows you just the very basic information, and it's very small. It almost, it looks like one of those Galaxy watches, like a Fitbit or something. It just shows you get 3 different pedal assist levels, and it'll tell you your average speed, maximum speed, your trip, and your battery percentage, and your range in miles, which is actually kind of nice. I don't know how accurate that is. You can see here's the battery. It's a 36 volt, 10 amp hour battery pack. So pretty small. I mean, as far as battery packs go, that's a pretty small battery pack, but you'll see it also helps keep the weight down. If you don't need crazy range, having a small battery pack is the way to go. And since you don't have a very powerful motor, this is a 350 watt, 36 volt motor, it doesn't draw a lot of power. So, this is gonna be pretty fuel efficient. I would estimate this to be about a 50-mile range. Depending on how you're riding it. If you're riding it really hard, you're gonna go less. If you're riding it really casually, you're gonna go farther. But I would say between like a 30 and 60-mile range. I don't know what they say it is, but it does help keep the weight down. You can see this thing is I think it's 35 pounds, something like that, 17 kilograms. It's a lightweight bike. I know some regular bikes that are heavier than this one. So if you're a city dweller and you want a lightweight bike you could throw on the train, carry it upstairs, you can do it on this one. This one's pretty easy. I'm a weak boy and look at me, one hand, ma. You can see it's got the carbon gates belt drive. This is not a chain. You don't need to adjust your bifocals. This is not a chain. This is a belt drive here. So this is going to be really, so there's two different camps. And at the end of the day, belt drive is better. There's just no bones about it, okay? Don't even try to argue it. Belt drive is better in most areas. Generally, it's more expensive, but you know, if you're not converting it, then you don't have to worry about it. You probably will never have to change this belt, most likely. So that's nice. This is definitely a nice upgrade. Unfortunately, it's only a single speed. There is no internally geared hub here. So this is a single speed, which is pretty smart why they went with this, because if you are putting a lot of power to this, a belt is better than a chain. It's stronger in general. And you can see they actually broke apart the frame here so that you can, if you ever do need to change this out, you can. But you know, one of the downsides is this is a fixed gear ratio. And in my experience riding it, topping out at 20 miles an hour, which is what this bike tops out at anyways, the motor will just stop giving you assist after 20 miles an hour. Your pedaling cadence is like, you might be able to do a couple more miles per hour before you start looking like a cartoon character with an egg beater, just like, you know? So you don't want to be going, if you need to go faster than 20 miles an hour, look elsewhere. But if 20 miles an hour is fine for you, that's what this will do. Also, it is a torque sensor down here, which is very nice. If you do not know what a torque sensor is, I have another video up on that. You could check out torque sensing versus cadence sensing. That's just how essentially the controller knows when you're pedaling and how to deliver power. Torque sensing is it's like pressure sensing. It senses how much pressure you're putting on that pedal, and it sends that amount of power. So if you just put a little bit of pressure, it sends just a little bit of power. More pressure, more power. It's very natural. It's the most advanced system that you could use out of cadence or torque sensing. So yes, this is very good. I like to see that. It does have a very natural feel to it, especially since it's like a single speed. It's going to be a predictable feel. It's going to be a very nice, easy ride for somebody long term to get used to this. This is going to have a very, not a steep, what's the opposite of a very steep learning curve? The opposite of a steep learning curve this is going to have. You're going to get onto it. You're going to get the hang of it real quick. It's got front and rear full coverage fenders, which is really nice. Integrated front headlight, 20 lux. It's fairly bright. Haven't had a chance to try it out at night, but I have looked at it just, you know, in somewhat darkness. It's fairly bright, but it's nice that it's fully integrated into the bike frame. That looks really nice. This is just a stick-on rear light that you can turn on here. That's pretty simple. I would have liked to have seen it when built in there, but whatever. It does have rear rack mounts here, which is really nice. So you could put a rear rack on here and turn this into a much more capable commuter, which is what I would do. It's got a rear mounted kickstand. It's adjustable. I like having adjustable kickstands. The battery is removable. There's a key right here. I always like to keep my keys up here. Not when I'm riding it or parking it, because then somebody could just steal it. But this battery is removable, so you could charge it on the bike, off the bike, take it off if you're going to be loading it onto a car, make the bike even lighter. I think that's pretty much the overview of the bike. Let's go do a performance test now where I'm going to do a hill climber. This is my Widowmaker hill climber test, where it's a steep hill. Most people are not going to see this hill in the wild, but some of you guys are like, that's my driveway. So I like to give you an idea. This is a very steep hill. It's probably a 30% grade or something, and it's off-road, just on grass. So I start it from a standstill, and I keep going back further and further until it gets up the hill. So let's go check it out. All right, so you can see I had to go back quite a ways, probably 60 feet, standing on the pedals the whole way, getting it up there. Didn't quite make it to the top, but it got close enough. But you need full throttle to get up there. If this was on pavement, it probably wouldn't have as much of an issue. But sometimes people have like really steep hills, and hub motors are just, that's not where hub motors shine. They don't shine on that low end torque, that climbing power. The 95% of hub motors, people are gonna be like, no, point out things. 95% of hub motors are not designed for low end torque. They're mid-range. So they're kind of like the futon of motor systems. If you need something for really like strong hill climbing, you want to be looking at a mid-drive system, and that's going to be looking probably in the custom-made shop. Hey, I know a custom e-bike shop, johnnynerd.com. Interesting. I'm glad you brought that up. Okay, so I'm going to go over what I like and what I don't like. There's a lot to like about this bike. There really is. The design is really good. I like how everything is it's simple, and they really went for simple, and they really nailed simple. It's lightweight, good quality, full coverage. It's like a good bones system, because then you could add on the accessories and stuff. It comes with the built-in light. Like I say, just like you're gonna need a light. I like that they built it in. You got that. Perfect. Torque sensing, a lot to like. What I don't like, single speed, but that's more personal preference, because there may be some situations where that's actually kind of ideal. I used to ride a single speed back in Chicago, not an electric bike, just a regular old single speed, and that thing flew, super efficient. And that thing was awesome, because you get on it and you just ride. You don't have to worry about anything, and it just go. Same thing with this bike. That's why I always have a soft spot in my heart for single speeds. And I think they kind of kept the spirit of the single speeds intact with this bike. It's lightweight, should be like no maintenance. That's what you want in a single speed bike. It's waterproof, or weatherproof, I guess I would say. So yeah, there's really not a whole lot that I don't like about this bike. For what they were aiming for, I really think they really did it. They really did a great job. Okay, so I want to go ahead and rate this bike now. Let's go for performance. So performance, it's not always just straight up power. This one does not have a lot of power. It's 350 watts, 36 volt. It's not gonna have that torque that like even a 500 watt 48 volt system would have, but it's good. I think it kind of goes in line with the mantra of this bike. It feels natural. The torque sensing helps a little bit. I'm gonna factor that torque sensing into this. I think normally I would give this like a 3 or a 4 for performance, but because of that torque sensing, I'll give it a 5 for performance. It's not gonna win any races, but it's quick enough. It's quick enough and to get by at a pinch. But if you're just commuting and you got long stretches of like city riding, that'd be fine. So I'll give it a 5 for performance. Design, yeah, they did a great job. I think they did. I'll give this a 10 for design. There's nothing about it I would really change. Maybe I would integrate the rear light into this. That's what I would like to see. Ride quality is really good. I liked it a lot. I'd give it a 9 for ride quality. And for component quality, it's simple. There's not a whole lot of components on here, but what they do have on here, it's really good quality. I'll give it a 10 for quality. This is really good. Now, value for the money. This might be the biggest one. This is a $1,900 bike. You may want to check on their website to see if they have specials. Sometimes it's, money off. I think right now there is, but you might want to, just double check, because if you're watching this in the years 2067, I cannot say that this is still on sale. For $1,900, I would have liked to seen this a little bit lower. They do have a lower end model. This is the Pro version, and check with, maybe the stats are okay with you to go with that lower down one. For $1,900 for this one, I really would have liked to have seen them come in at a little bit lower price point than $1,900. But again, the quality's there. So if you have $1,900 to spend and it's not gonna kill you, I think you're gonna be okay with the quality for this. I would have liked to seen this be about $1,499. I think that's where I would be like, okay, or even like a little bit. If they could somehow get it to like $1,200 to $1,500 for this bike as it is, that would be like, oh man, I would give it a much higher. I'd give it a 10 for value. At $1,900, I think I'm gonna give it a 7 for value. And this is comparing it to other pre-made e-bikes out there. So I'm gonna give it a 7 for value. So who is this bike for? This bike is for, I picture somebody in like New York City, even Chicago, what up? Yeah, just weaving through traffic, going through alleys, being like, you could be really quick on this thing and super lightweight, and then, carry it up your stairs if you're doing deliveries, you could even use this to do deliveries. You got a backpack full of stuff. That's what I think this bike is for. Or if you just want like a simple, lightweight exercise bike, this could even be for that. If you're like, hey, it's a nice day out, like right now it's beautiful out. It's like 65 out right now, sunny. I don't want to have to worry about like the gears getting all messed up. It sits in the garage all winter, and then it's sitting, and I gotta tune stuff. There's almost like no tuning up of this bike. If you want a bike that you don't have to worry about at all, this is the bike for you. And if $1,900 isn't, it isn't that steep, that's the bike for you. However, if you want to build a bike that is totally custom to you, you want the specs, you want the battery, the voltage, the motor wattage, everything designed to you, go to johnnynerd.com. That's what I do. I do consultations. I help people build their dream bike. I sell all the components, all the parts, all the e-bike accessories, even bike accessories. If there's something you want that I don't have, let me know, because there's probably something that other people want or that I even want. So I'm also a e-bike rider, nerd. All right, hopefully this helped you guys make a decision on the Tenways 600 Pro, CGO 600 Pro. Thanks guys, thanks for tuning in. Check out my other pre-made e-bike videos if you want to look at other ones compared to this.